Value. And how do you value value? Now let me explain. So this video is going to be talking about value and our perception of what value is. And I think for everyone, we've all got our own perception and our own thoughts of what is valuable to us. And I think it is all essentially very subjective. It's a very subjective matter in terms of what you think is valuable and how you go about it. So the reason why I wanted to cover this topic is that I think there's a lot of things that we look at across our lives and what we do, things that we buy, things that we hold value. And it's not just in the sense of the cost of goods or the cost of something. I think value as a concept goes really goes a bit deeper than that, and inherently it is something that comes from how we see something as valuable or not, and it can be tangible or intangible. So there's a very great saying from Warren Buffett, which I'm sure a lot of people in our circles would know. The quote is that the saying is, price is what you pay and value is what you get. Now the concept of this is quite profound really, and what he's talking about here is that no matter what you pay or the price that you pay for something, sure, yes, there's an underlying value to an asset, as an example, but the actual value that you receive from that asset is not purely based on one factor. And in fact, some person can value an asset in a different way compared to another person. So one person might see, let's say, going back to property, so let's say someone might value a property at £50,000, right? And another person might look at it and value it at £100,000. So what is the actual difference when it comes to the valuations? Why can one person see one thing that is different from others? And I think this is what Warren Buffett is saying about in terms of the value that you receive and the connection to the price that you pay, essentially. So psychologically, this also means that things that you put more money into, it's going to cost a lot higher. So take into account, let's say buying luxury goods. You pay a lot of money for the perceived branding, so the things that come from wearing things like Gucci, Louis Vuitton and that kind of thing, so those branded goods, you would literally pay 10x, 100x the price of something like that compared to something else that would do the same function, so which is like, let's say it's a bag or handbag. Literally the function of the bag itself is to carry stuff, so why does it matter that I need to pay more for this than that? So the perception of value comes down to what you find valuable, and I think that's very interesting in the sense of taking stock and really asking yourself the question, what do you find valuable? And that's an open-ended question from me to you. That's something that I think is very interesting to think of, and what do you find as valuable? Because again, going back to the beginning, it's not just about the cost of goods or material possessions. What's valuable to you could be something that's a lot more intangible, right? So give you an example. So family could hold a high value for yourself, whereas for some other person, they might value family less and value their career more, right? So that in itself is an interesting concept, and I think for everyone is good for them to have a moment of self-reflection and just to take stock of what they value in this world, and have a think about that, and whether what they're doing aligns with the stuff that they value. And this goes on to a lot of other things. So as an example, it's like, if you are to, let's say, invest in your education, right, obviously there's a cost associated with it. Going to university, there's a cost associated with it, and it's not just the course fees, it's also accommodation fees, living expenses. There's a whole lot of things that you need to take into account. Yet we still do it because we perceive the degree that we get at the end of the day will be a lot more valuable because it gives us access to a career where we can make money further down the line and, you know, future-proof ourselves. So that's of value. So it's very interesting for us, especially as property investors and developers. Sometimes when we are presented with an opportunity to work with someone, let's say under for someone under a mentorship or coaching scheme, there are often times where we hesitate in terms of whether we think we get value from that kind of service. And whether we do or we don't, right, that is all in your mindset. And obviously the person you work with also needs to be someone that is legit. But let's say all things equal, they do provide a level of education, value, accountability, mentorship. The only factor that changes is whether you yourself think it's worth the amount or the price tag that person's offering the service to you, and whether you think it is worth that investment. And it's very interesting to me because I've done my own paradigm shift where in the past I would value money more than my time, right? And that means I was, thinking of, right, I don't need mentoring, I don't need other people to help me, I don't need to pay for other people's knowledge because I can learn this. There's online resources, there's free resources, there's a lot of stuff online I can find that I can actually teach myself to do what I need to do, and that's it. But what I was missing here with that kind of mindset is the speed and the knowledge and the accountability and the support network that a person that is well connected or knowledgeable and offering the service can give to me, which essentially fast tracked going from A to B. You'd be making a lot less mistakes and a lot less costly mistakes, which if you were to think about it, the money you save on not making these mistakes would probably be more than what you're paying for someone's time to teach you these things, right? And nowadays I've flipped the script in terms of learning, in this sense, getting other people to help me, which is why I invest in myself in terms of the knowledge, because I've realized that for me the value of time is more important than the value of money. Because if you think about it, money, you can earn it. There's unlimited amount of opportunities and possibilities for you to earn money. There's no upper limit. Whereas if you look at time as a resource, your time is finite, and arguably it is the most precious resource that you have there, because you can't buy time. Even if you have money, you can't buy the seconds that you are spending just being in the present. The time's ticking. So because of that, time is your most valuable asset, and I look at time as being my most valuable asset that I can give to someone. And that's why also I respect the time that other people give to me, because I know that they won't ever get that back again. So is it or is it not fair if you were to be buying someone's time, you compensate them for it? And that is where the value comes from, is how much you see that person in high regard and how much they can potentially help you to achieve what you want to achieve. And that's kind of like the lesson that I wanted to share when it comes to value and your perspective of value. And the last thing I also want to leave with you, which is another great quote that is a mindset changer from Mr. Alex Hormozy himself, is that he says, if your goal is to make $1 million, right, how much is it costing you to not know the knowledge that you could be learning by paying someone to learn that knowledge? So if this course is 50 grand, how much is it costing you to not know that knowledge? Well, essentially it'll be $950,000, because that's how much it's going to cost by being ignorant. So yeah, value, and that is the message for today. I'll see you guys later. Hope everyone has a wonderful day.